Hey everyone, welcome to the Mental Playbook with Christine Dalgity. We're here to chat about all things mental health, share some awesome stories, educate, and advocate to break stigmas and gain power through knowledge for all ages and walks of life, and give you the tools you need to boost your mental game. So grab a coffee, get comfy, tune in, get inspired, and let's dive into some fascinating conversations. Remember, your mind is super powerful, and with the right tools and knowledge, you can master your mental playbook. And while you're doing that, take care of you. Hey everyone, Christine here. Welcome back to the Mental Playbook with Christine Dalgity. Today we have a special guest on, and we are going to bridge the gap between mental and physical health. And I've mentioned a few times about my sister owning the other half of Dalgity Wellness. I do the mental health. She owns Dalgity Resilience, which is the physical parts, and it's personal training and group sessions, classes, and also Fascial Stretch Therapy. I can never pronounce it for some reason. So they offer that as well. And today we have Mat. He is, pretty much my sister's right-hand man. And he is a personal trainer and a fascial stretch therapist. And he's going to answer some questions on FST and personal training. Just so, my sister and I really wanted to mesh mental and physical health. It's always been a goal of ours, a dream of ours. And now we're doing it. So I want to talk a little bit about it. So welcome, Mat.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Sorry?
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for coming.
You're not the only one to not know how to pronounce fascial stretch therapy. The amount of people that think it's facial stretch therapy and think, is he going to start touching my face?
I actually, yesterday, I said to my sister, how do you pronounce it? Because I keep saying facial.
Yeah. And for the first 2 weeks my website was live, it had that typo.
Oh, yeah?
So that didn't help.
Yeah, no, that's, I kept saying, I'm going to screw it up. I know I'm going to screw it up. Before we get into everything about, what FST is and talk about personal training, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like what led you to both of these positions?
Yeah, I guess for me it started in university. Like my background is not in kinesiology or personal training to start. I went to university at Carleton for sociology.
Oh.
And in just the lifestyle of university, got really into the gym. My roommate at the time, Kevin, shout out. He was a really accomplished power lifter and a very motivational guy who I kind of looked up to as like a big brother role, a mentor of mine, and he got me into working out. And we would go every single day, and that kind of became more my passion than anything else that could have been career focused. And then started doing a little bit of PT in university, and then after university I moved to Vancouver to kind of just try something different for a bit, and ended up getting a job at a gym as a personal trainer, and then starting my own business as a personal trainer. And I had some colleagues that wanted to get their manual therapy certifications in FST, and I got into that with them, and that was about, 10 years ago. Doing that, and never looked back.
So was there like a light bulb moment or was it just like they were doing it and you thought, I'll try it, or was there like, no, there's really merit in this?
I'd say there wasn't really a light bulb moment until kind of like things kind of just fall in piece by piece, and it's only once you're down that path you're like, it ended up working out that way.
Yeah.
Where you never really see it as like, this could be the career. You just kind of find yourself in it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like my niece is in psychology right now, and she wanted to be a teacher. She said that, she was supplying at one of the schools, and all of a sudden she's like, no, I don't want to be a teacher. Yeah. I think I'm going to go the psychotherapy route. Yeah. It's like it just kind of fell into, she had the opportunity to do that, and then it was like, this isn't what I want to do. Yeah. So, things kind of line up, and then you go with it. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who might be hearing, or our listeners who might be hearing about FST for the first time, can you talk about, what it is exactly?
Yeah. So it picturing it to start, it's on a massage table. So it is a form of manual therapy, but rather than, having like elbows and thumbs digging into you, it's more like you are being stretched,
Okay.
where you have to kind of let go of the control of your limbs. The idea is to stretch connective tissue, which you can't really do if you are in control of the stretch, especially if you're tense and you're trying to like push through something, or if you're in pain. You really do need to kind of let go of the limb so the therapist can move you. And it's also aimed to create space in joints. So when we use the term tractioning, it's trying to create space in a joint so that synovial fluid can lubricate it and it can move better. And some people, it's, all different reasons why they might get the therapy, like whether they just feel like they're tight or sore, if they have an injury, if they've recovered from a surgery. Yeah. Usually it can help with just about everything to get someone's nervous system to relax enough to receive the therapy. But traction can help with almost every joint ailment.
That's
and
cool.
Then you can train with that new capacity.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think I'd have a hard time just relaxing and letting go. Because even when I get a massage sometimes and they go to, I'm like, I can feel myself like that. Do you find that a lot, that people like really tense up when you go to do it?
Even like therapists, like even if I have someone do it to me, I find that it's hard to fully let go of your limb. Like it's not a natural thing until you're like sleeping. So that's why like some people, just that motion will start usually most sessions with a assessment, or we're moving limbs around and do some circumduction where like I'm holding your leg or your arm and moving it around and getting you to relax. And sometimes that's enough for people to feel a big difference because they've never really done that.
No.
Yeah.
Do you find, because of course I go into the mental health side of things, do you find, because the nervous system, any mental health issue in the nervous system are connected, right? Do you find that when they do release, because you said there's a release of the nervous system, do you find people get emotional or any emotions come out?
Sometimes, yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like it's more subtle than you would think, and you just kind of like you learn to realize that it's an emotional response, where someone who might be maybe irritable or kind of you can tell something's on their mind, as soon as they kind of let go, they relax just in general, and you can tell that just trying to focus on their breathing and something else can elicit an emotional response, as well as just stretching different tissues can elicit emotional responses. Like some people have already gone down the rabbit hole of seeing like what muscle or fascial lines are connected with different emotions or have different types of cells in the muscle. Cool. Yeah, like people always say like if they have their psoas worked on or like their deep hips in a massage, it makes them emotional. It's the same thing with FST.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really like emotionally intimate aspects of it, like the trust in a therapist, and sometimes just chatting too. You kind of become a bit of a sounding board.
I was going to say you probably become like a therapist.
Yeah, which is perfect because I can be like, right next door. Just,
Well, now I'm going to say nervous system right next door.
Christine, get the Kleenex.
Yeah, that's so cool. Mm-hmm. And I like, because I am a psych geek, I like the emotional aspect of it too. Yeah. Even when I'm doing some therapeutic techniques that has to do with the nervous system and relaxing the nervous system, you can see, like, I watch shoulders go down. I watch like face, it's tense and it goes, the person's eyes are closed. They don't notice. And sometimes I'll have teenagers that I had a mom say, he was faking it. And I'm like, he wasn't because it was trauma response and you can't hide it because flush, like all of that. Yeah. So, that's so cool. So it's not your average stretch after a gym session.
No, I mean, sometimes it is. And sometimes you do it like so frequently with a client that it just kind of becomes a habitual thing, and they're very comfortable, and they're already comfortable enough to be emotional. So it's not like the stretch is what elicits it. It's the routine nature of it. But so I think that's probably the biggest thing, if I were to say, like, having done it for almost 10 years now, is what makes you experienced at it is learning those responses in people,
Mm-hmm.
because then you kind of know maybe what to say or not say or how to move through it. Whereas when you're a new therapist or you don't have any grasp of that side of it, you just know the physical part, you might not really realize what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I like, well, because of my age and stuff, like joints are starting to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I know you said to me you should come in for some FST because I was like, oh, my back and everything, and my shoulder. Can you talk a little bit more about the joint part of it that you said? Because I know a lot of our listeners are probably, wondering about that.
Yeah. Different,
like the fluid pain. And did you say
synovial fluid?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like what, if you imagine like a ball and socket joint, like your shoulder or your hip, and the fact that, even if we're not lifting weights, just existing in a gravitational force that is pushing us down, this constant compression. And then if you add that you're doing a task or sitting all the time or whatever it is, slowly those joints kind of, they settle in whatever, movement pattern or position of stillness that you do most often. Yeah. And especially if you've had some kind of injury in the past and then you've been immobilized in that way and favoring something, then the joints kind of, every problem's a little bit different, but it's all, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. And I can imagine, I know for myself, my sore spots are because I played sports and everything when I was a kid and like wrecked both my knees, my shoulder, stuff like that. And so now as I get older, it's like, you get out of bed and it's like, in the morning. I try to do stretches before I get out, but okay.
It sounds like a very abstract concept for people that don't know what it is. And it's got a long name like fascial stretch and they don't know what fascia is, but it's actually like a very like minimally invasive type thing compared to other therapies. Yeah. It's not like, where you're poking needles and electrodes and all this stuff. It's really just kind of creating a capacity for you to then train that tissue again.
Yeah.
So
like a holistic. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very minimal. It's very simple.
Yeah.
As well. Like when we say fascia, that's just connective tissue, myofascia being the connective tissue that runs between muscles. And we kind of have it as like, you can think of it as a onesie for your whole body, or there's pockets for all your stuff in your muscle. Okay. And we don't move in terms of straight lines the way like we have this muscle and that muscle. Usually in our world, we call them like fascial slings or fascial nets, where there's a line of connective tissue, which is what we stretch in FST, where it might be twisting someone. So it's the spiral line. Okay. Just so that you might feel a stretch in a specific muscle because that part of it is tight. But it's aimed to get people to move more fluidly, or at least be able to access that range again.
So cool. Yeah. I was reading a little bit about it before this, so I had a little bit of an idea. I was reading about the connective tissue and stuff like that, but it's so cool. Okay. And honestly, I knew that you did that over on the other side, or you're not doing it there. Are you doing it there now?
Over
on Allison's side, have you started doing it there?
Yep. Yeah, we have the therapy room back there. The
therapy room. I knew she was working on it.
Yep.
Yeah, but I didn't really know what it was.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't think it was the face, even though I was saying facial. Clearly, it is a learning thing I have.
Yeah. Like, what does this dude actually do back there? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Other than come in and steal coffees and make jokes. Yeah.
Yeah, bug all my therapists.
Yeah. Yep, pretty much.
You can steal coffee, that's okay.
Perfect.
It's not stealing.
Yeah.
And you bring us cookies. You brought us cookies.
Yeah.
Which I did end up having one. I was like, nope, I'm not having any. And then I had a bad day on Wednesday and I walked out with a cookie and Kyla's like, that lasted 3 days.
It's like a game of hot potato with the cookies.
Yes. Yeah. A client on the other side brings in cookies sometimes.
Yeah.
And
they're great.
Yeah,
it's appreciated.
Yes. But it's a gym.
Yeah. I'll usually have one.
Yeah. And so Matt brings them over to the therapist because whenever there's extra food, we put it on the table in the staff room and it always goes away. So, so let's talk about how you become an FST therapist.
So some prerequisites, and you can come from a lot of different backgrounds to qualify to start learning about it. When I took the initial level 1 course, there was a mix of personal trainers, physiotherapists, massage therapists, who are the best people to team up with at the places, because you basically get a massage the whole time that they're practicing on you. So
there you go.
try to find them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just like good at the physical touch part of it right away. So yeah, but you can be any kind of like manual therapist as a prerequisite, or a personal trainer. And how it works is it's kind of a tiered system where you take the initial level 1 course. And you can, when I started, you could only go a couple places. And I think it was Toronto and Arizona. And being on the West Coast in Vancouver, I went to Arizona. It's where they have the Stretch to Win Institute headquarters, which is run by Chris and Ann Frederick, who are the founders of the course, who both have just a crazy amount of experience working with athletes of different kind, from, football to ballet to everything. And they have a million stories, great sense of humor, and they're great teachers. And the way that they teach the other coaches as well, that now they've spread out to multiple locations. I think Calgary, I don't know if they have one in Vancouver. I know they do it in Toronto. But if anyone is thinking of doing it, I highly recommend going to the Arizona location. Just like the experience I had was awesome, and like the facility they have set up there, it's huge, and it's a great experience. So you spend a week in the first. You do have to do some coursework leading up to that week, just to get all of the the book stuff, essentially all of the science, all of the research papers that they include, and just the video tutorials on different things that you will be hands-on practicing. And then you're there with everyone else taking the level 1 course, and you're getting hands-on stuff. It's both a exhaustive week in terms of being stretched nonstop, and mentally the whole time, but definitely a life-changing experience too, just to meet other practitioners.
Yeah, that's cool.
And learn in an environment that feels, like that's what you're there to do. Even if you aren't great at it at first, they're there to help you. And then after that, you can get your level 2, your level 3. For me, and the course has changed a little bit since I got it, but the level 2 credential had a little bit more fluidity in the movements, in terms of you were not as much stretching in straight lines, but a lot more fanning of tissue and dynamic things, and just a lot of different ideas for how to enhance the experience for clients. And level 3 involves a little bit more like pin and stretch type techniques, which is more similar, for lack of a better term, like active release therapy, like regular massage type techniques. But again, a lot of this stuff may have changed since I last looked into it. I also got my level 2 certification going to Arizona and going back for it. So yeah, you have to kind of log a certain amount of hours. I forget if it was like 100 hours of client work with level 1 before you can qualify for level 2. It's definitely a great thing. I would say that if a personal trainer or any type of manual therapist is thinking of adding it to their repertoire, to try to find someone you would do it with, because being able to practice on each other, like the colleagues I had in Vancouver that I took the course with, having the benefit of being able to go to the gym and practice these things on one another was definitely helpful.
Yeah. So you said that couple that they had athletes and stuff. I love sports. So is that something that, like, do sports teams have FST therapists like hired for them? Yeah.
Quite a few. So I think, a lot of the NFL teams had, and they've worked specifically with Ann and Chris in the beginning. And she had some great stories about working on, like elite quarterbacks. And a lot of the time, especially with such high stress sports, the traction and circumduction and like the low invasive type therapies that are just meant to get people to let go in their nervous system had more of a benefit than all the different, throw in the kitchen sink at these athletes in terms of treatment. Yeah. It worked better.
Yeah. Yeah. Poor George Springer might need some. He got beaten up. He
just needs to sleep for a week and then,
Yeah. The other day, what was I doing? I was working out downstairs, and I picked up one of my dumbbells and hit myself in the knee. And it was just like a And I was like, oh, and then I think it was him getting,
The
what,
baseball
95 mile an hour
God.
pitch on his kneecap.
So squarely on it too. Yeah.
Like I felt that when I saw, you could hear it hit too.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I could think of because it was a tap on my knee and it was, yeah. I don't know how it
didn't break his kneecap.
Right?
The way it did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he got hit in the head. He got hit in the arm. Like, George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He needs a little bit of an off season.
Poor boy. Yeah. Yeah. I think all of them, they were all hurting. Not all of them, but there was a lot of them hurting at the end.
Yeah.
My Blue Jays, for those of you who don't know who we're talking about. I talk about my Blue Jays and my Sens and my Bills and everything all the time.
The sports are great examples of how, especially in something like that, how asymmetrical people's habits are. And if you're swinging a bat or throwing a ball one side repetitively for a living, but then just growing up playing sports, your fascial nets are all going to be twisted. And when we do assessments on people, the first thing we do is measure leg length discrepancy and pelvic symmetry. And I would say that like 90% of the time, everybody's pelvis is going to be shifted like one way. Yeah. And the leg length will appear to be different. And especially with people that play sports that they pivot or they throw or they swing. Yeah.
My shoulder, I was a pitcher for like windmill fastball pitching when I was a teenager for a team. We traveled around tournaments and competitive, and then my dog saw a squirrel
And yanked you.
Boom, and then my rotator cuff and stuff. But I'd like to say it was just from sports and me being like super athletic, but no, my dog did it in the end. All right, so what made you? I mean, you've talked a little bit about like the PT, personal training, the PT, and then FST. Was it just a natural progression to join both of them, or was there like a plan behind it? Or
so initially, the appeal to getting FST after I had already started my personal training journey in business was that having a manual therapy credential could allow you to be a little bit more hands-on with clients. And taking different certifications, like my personal training certification is the National Academy of Sports Medicine, NASM, and they're kind of big on teaching the to the letter in of the ethics of it and like when and if you should have hands on a client. And one thing I kind of learned, at least back then, it was the case that like as a personal trainer, you shouldn't really be hands on your client. There's instances giving cues and stuff, but in terms of like manually stretching them and doing that, like you should have some kind of credential or background in doing it.
For sure.
So adding that as both a way to make sure that I'm doing everything by the book was part of it. And then seeing that I could do things where I wouldn't have to refer out to if I wanted someone to improve joint function or like go get a massage or go see a chiro or pass that off and stay in that lane, I had a little bit more in my toolbox to be able to address it on the spot, which I found to be incredibly time efficient and effective for the client. So if someone had, something going on with the shoulder, as an example, instead of having to be like, I think you should go get this done. And then to get that done, you're going to need a referral and someone to confirm that and give a real medical diagnosis. And, still there's no, I'll place the caveat that there's no replacement for a medical diagnosis, but sometimes at my discretion as a fascial stretch therapist, if I want to work on someone and then we see if we can access more tissue and do an exercise on the spot, it just saves time, money, and it's more rewarding for the client.
Yeah. So do you, just as you're saying that, I'm picturing, because obviously I know what Dalgity Resilience looks like, and I'm picturing you with and I know some of the ages of some of your clients. Do you see, like, if someone's lifting, can you see that something's off?
Yep.
Like, because you were saying about the leg being shorter and stuff.
Yep. Definitely. You can, with all my clients, when I first see them, we go through a physical assessment that involves different movement patterns where I can see if they shift or favor one side, especially when they do things like a squat or a deadlift, as well as just intaking information on if they've had injuries on either side, seeing what their ankles do, like having them do things, taking their shoes off, seeing how their feet move when they do things like a squat or a lunge.
Yeah.
Seeing how they hold their arms overhead, the way if their back tilts or favors one side.
Yeah.
So you try to get a big picture of that first. And then it's usually something that we can expect when we do different movements, where you see if one thing isn't cooperating in a way that they could safely sustain that movement into a spot where they're working hard enough to actually get an effect from it.
Very cool. Because that's cool.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I'm just thinking about myself when I'm downstairs working out, and I know I favor my shoulder big time, but just different things, like when you were saying the Dalgitys, we don't have arches in our feet, and so we all have back issues. And I just, when you were saying squats and stuff, I was thinking about sometimes I feel myself kind of off kilter. Yeah. And I'm like, I can see my reflection on my TV, so I'm trying to like straighten up. I don't have mirrors down there, but yeah, okay. So let's shift gears a little bit into the personal training side of things. And do you have any tips or tricks that clients, or for clients looking to improve their results? Any just like offhand tips or tricks?
Good question. I guess it just depends on the context in which they're coming from. If it's something like they are adamantly working out at home already versus like haven't ever touched a weight. Yeah. There's a lot of variance in terms of what the advice would be, which is, where we come in terms of like helping someone no matter what spot they're at in their progression towards their goal. Sometimes it's also like defining a goal. Yeah. Right? Like a lot of people that come in, we go through like what they really want to accomplish, and they don't really know it. They just kind of have this sense of like, I need to be healthier. Yeah. And then you try to map out what that actually looks like how that, what to you is being healthy. And I think that, narrowing down your goal is a big thing, because then, maybe the gaps or things you might need help with. So the very first thing for most people is creating a picture of what you want to improve, because otherwise you're kind of guessing and going in blind, and this general idea of I want to be healthier. It's great, but you won't really be able to realize your progress if you don't know what unit of measurement you're using.
Absolutely, 100%. Even in like psychotherapy, when I get clients to do goals, right? I don't say I want to be healthy. Yeah. Like, I don't want to hear that. I want, I want to lose weight. I don't want to hear that. Yeah. I want to hear like your why. Yeah. Like, what is it that that you want to see? What changes, or the whys? Not I want to get healthy. I want to be able to like those kinds of things. Yeah. Because I mean, in my experience as a psychotherapist and personally in life, if you just say I want to get healthy, well, first of all, that's so broad, but you lose interest, right? Like if you don't have a specific, like a SMART goal, a specific goal, then you lose interest. Yeah. Because what does it mean?
Yeah. I think it's probably easier for people to understand it, like going into more your realm, where like all of the like goals when they come in are kind of like abstract, like it could be chaotic in someone's mind, and like narrowing down like what is it, like do you want to be able to have your OCD under control so that you can leave the house without taking 20 minutes. Like that's a real tangible goal. It's the same thing like when people come in to see me and they say like, well, I want to be able to pick up my grandkid without my knees hurting. Like that's a great place to start. That's like an actual thing that we can start, working backwards from and see what we have to do.
Yeah. I remember one of my sister's clients, one of Allison's clients, she wanted to be able to lift her suitcase. She was going on vacation. She wanted to be able to lift her carry-on. And I remember her bringing it in.
That's awesome.
And afterwards and doing it. Yeah. And, and I know that some of the classes, like your Legends classes, seniors and stuff, there was one woman there who I was in my sister's office when you had the class going, and I'm watching her, and she was doing the plank, sliding the dumbbell for a minute, and she was just like, and I'm like, what?
I know who you're talking about. Yeah. She crushes it. She
crushes it. Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm being humbled right now. Yeah. But I remember when she first started, and a lot of these people come in, when you say that they don't really know what they're looking for, but I think that's what's really great about Dalgity Resilience too, because it's like a boutique type, and it's personal training, and it's small groups. And so I know when I first, way back when, I think I was in my 30s, and I started training with Allison at the gym, and going in there, it was so intimidating. And I kept saying, people are going to be saying she doesn't know what she's doing, or she's too big, or and Allison said to me, if they're paying attention to you, then they're not doing their workout properly. Right. And then she said, most people are looking at themselves and not other people. But I know how intimidating it can be. So that kind of environment, I think, is so good for people. And the Legends classes, they're so cute. I mean, in the sense that they all like, you know, when we were at the old place, there was a coffee place right next door, and they would, afterwards, they'd all go to the coffee place together and have coffee and stuff. So it brings out, from my perspective, it brings out that connection and everything too.
Yeah, I think that class and a lot of the class environments in general, like, bring this kind of support network into the equation that is so like a massive benefit to this is knowing that you're kind of in it together, and like when something's tough, you give each other that look like, oh, this guy's making us do this, but at least you're there together. And people meet friends, people talk about different events. It's like, that's something I've been blown away, changing my career from working basically just, one-on-ones, my own clients, to now working more class settings, is just to see the value that adds for a lot of people. And especially people like in the Legends class, or, those who like, there's just so many different stories, like people who, they're in their 60s, 70s, 80s. Our oldest client is 90. And, people who have maybe lost their spouse, or, or just kind of hit a bad groove for a while, where they've lost, the ability to do physical activities, or they just get so much fulfillment from finding that.
And just seeing them, like, their confidence and everything, because I always pop over, but I remember some of them, when they first came in, like, did not want to touch the equipment. It was so intimidating. And now they're like, even the 90-year-old, does she do the equipment, or she does the dumbbells?
She does it all.
She's
in shape. Like it's amazing. I think we'd all hope that we're like that at 90, but she's not even like the weakest person in there by a mile. Like, she's quite strong with a lot of things. Like, even in her small groups, like, she's one of the stronger people. It's awesome to see.
It is awesome. I love watching her come in, and I'm like, 90 years old. Like, that's amazing. Hopefully I can be like that then. What is your go-to approach to keep clients motivated? Because I often talk about, you may not agree, but I hate New Year's resolutions. And I talk about that a lot in my podcast, because I think that people say, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, or I'm going to work out every day, and they lose motivation by the first week, right? Like, I'm all about steps and in your goals and stuff, but how do you keep your clients motivated?
So I definitely see where you're coming from on the New Year's resolution one. And only because I think it's great, if someone finds if they're going to stick to it, and, New Year's comes up, like, this is the perfect time, and they do it. Awesome. Definitely not going to put that down by any means. No. But I find, like, people will ask, oh, is New Year's a big time for personal trainers in terms of signups and business? And I don't think it's as much as you would think. And I think the reason is the people that are, like, really serious about committing long-term, for the most part, not everybody, but they're going to reach out to you in, like, October, November, December, leading into the holidays, knowing that it's, like, a tough time to stay on track, just, like, nutrition-wise and everything too. I would say that it's almost like a bigger rush of people that end up being consistent clients and with you a while in those months leading up to New Year's.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And sorry, what was the second part of that question?
Just how you keep your clients motivated.
Yeah. I think that's about the goal setting as well, is finding something that feels like it's rewarding their effort and quantifying it. So sometimes that's in just, like, the way someone's feeling, and it's, more difficult to quantify, but, like, you can see that they just have a different outlook, and they're enjoying the endorphins and the change they see in the body. And sometimes it's finding a specific lift that they keep improving on, that they enjoy doing, that either it was their goal when they came in, or they kind of found it once we started getting going, and they could see, oh, wow, I was doing, 40-pound dumbbells on this week, and when I came in, I could barely lift the 10s, like things like that I think are measurable.
Yeah.
That's a good way to keep clients motivated.
Yeah. I know that I'm in my 50s now, and everything that I learned, eating, training, everything, now I have to do the opposite. It's not about that really hard cardio anymore. It's more about like heavy lifting, low reps kind of thing. So how do you, I know that you, like we just talked about the legends, and I see mainly adults now.
Mm-hmm.
I gave all the young kids to the young therapist because I'm getting too old for it. How do you like adapt the FST and training for mature clients? Like, do you, because I know some of your young clients, obviously it's going to go harder, but how do you, is it the lower reps, higher weights, or is it, and FST as well?
I think it changes. Like it just depends on the person and what they're trying to get out of it. I think the part, there might be a lot less volume depending on the client of what they can handle in a session. Like we might not do, like 3 sets of something. We might do 1 or 2, and just finding something that is, can work them just hard enough where it feels like it's, it's going to be beneficial. But it's, I'd say it more depends on the personality of the person almost. Like, there's some things you'd have more mature clients do compared to younger clients, or especially in terms of things like jumping, plyometrics, and getting on and off the ground, different positions. And that's just kind of in the planning of a session to make sure something is like ergonomic and, attainable, which I find the most difficult times would be like if there's groups of, clients that are maybe like 60 plus and onwards, they're all very different in terms of what their limitations would be.
Sure.
So having things that can be easily interchangeable and modified, where something could be done seated or standing, or, and they don't feel like everything has to change for them. And I think that's something, especially in a group setting, or even in a single setting or a tandem, where if they feel like, oh, everything needs to change because they're not fit enough to do something, that can be disheartening. So having something already ready as a modification, like, oh, no problem, we'll just do it this way.
Awesome.
I think that's probably the biggest part of planning for them.
Yeah, because, I was just thinking when you said that, even the Legends classes, like some might be 60. Mm-hmm. I know that the 90-year-old is fit, but that's 30 years difference.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And we just kind of lump, in mind, like just as you were saying, it just clicked in my head that we kind of say the Legends, but there's 30 or more years in there.
Yeah.
So there'd be a lot of modifications.
There is kind of tiers to the class. So we have like our level 1, 2, and 3, where for the most part, the level 1 is a lot of seated, slower activities and lighter activities with maybe, fewer dynamic weights involved. Whereas the level 3, we get pretty intense. Like the breaks are short, and it's, they really do kind of kick ass. Like they're really fit. And what we find, at least right now, there's not a whole lot that fall into the level 2. So we need to adjust when it's, having people as part of level 1, where they need to have a couple maybe modifications that are more challenging for them if they need it, if they're a little bit more advanced. And then in the level 3, if there's some things that are a little too much for some people, just try to have something ready to go if they can't do that one.
Yeah.
And make it normalized, because everyone is different.
Is there any advice for our mature listeners who might feel nervous about trying something new, like FST as well, or getting into working out?
I think it's tough for me to give advice to them, I think, because it's probably more like whatever's going on in life thing. I find that's like the biggest barrier. Like if someone's in a funk or is not motivated to do it, sometimes it's all I can really do is to try to get them to try, or pop by and just try a class or have a talk and see like from there. I find you probably see this a lot in your line of work with people being in different stages of readiness to change. And a lot of the time someone's not in an actionable phase yet. And I find that a lot with senior clients is that a lot of them are kind of, it's still a far away concept to be in the gym all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not like I can be like, okay, you're in the Legends class, you're showing up, because they might not, or it might be overwhelming at first. So it's maybe try to get a couple little steps before that, like whether it's a one-on-one assessment or, I think, especially if people fall off for a while, I think it's just staying in contact and having a dialogue with them, because it's like, you probably see it all the time, right? Where you like, if you were to try to just tell someone, just do this thing, like, they're not going to do it because they're not at that stage.
Yeah. I mean, in therapy, we have motivational interviewing, which is all the stages, right? So pre-contemplation, contemplation, action. And I tell all of my clients, you just need to take one step.
Yeah.
Right. Like go and check it out, or in your case, like go check out the gym. Yeah. Just go and walk around and look at it. Yeah. And I often talk about, our brains are designed to protect us. Yeah. And so they want to stay just where they are because that's comfortable. Mm-hmm. But we have to push ourselves outside our comfort zone, not shove ourselves, but we have to push. So baby steps.
I think so one of the courses that I've taken, and the way the NASM certification works is you have to take continuing education credits and then renew your certification as a personal trainer. Okay. So there's thankfully like a lot of things that qualify. And one of the ones I was really interested in when I looked through the list of qualified certifications was a behavioral change certification, how it pertains to fitness. Yeah. And that's where it talked about all of the, like CBT and stages of readiness to change. And I thought, out of everything I've taken, probably that was the most helpful, because it drastically changed my approach to different people and what I would suggest to them. Where I don't want to push someone into something they're just not at the spot for, and then the result is them feeling like they failed already because they're not going to do it. I'd rather it be depending on where someone's readiness is just a conversation, or just a habit, like get this amount of protein in your day and let's talk in a week. Yep. And sometimes that, like, how quickly that can move from somebody being in the contemplative phase to an actionable phase would blow people's minds. And it's just the difference in what you're offering to start. Yeah. Yeah.
See, mental health and physical health. Look, you're doing therapy while you're training people. Mm-hmm. I always talk about it. All right, so let's dive into your experience with athletes and teens. Mm-hmm. How does your approach differ training groups, but not necessarily like these age groups more? And what unique strategies do you use?
So I mean, I've trained a handful of teens before working at Dalgity. Yeah. And it would usually be, like I train someone's parent, and then maybe their oldest sibling, and then their oldest and their youngest together. And it was very much like, a setting that was conducive for them to focus very easily. Like having an older sibling there or a parent. And I found definitely it to be like a new challenge for me when we started training like full teams of kids that are like 13 and getting their, the attention spans, getting them to buy into stuff and take an interest in it is definitely a challenge. And it still is. Like it's different. It's tough. Yeah. You go from having people that have had like several injuries because of their lack of body knowledge, being like wanting to absorb everything like a sponge, to people that, like I wish we could all like kind of live in that mindset of like, we're indestructible. Yes. And kind of like, I don't want to listen to this. Yeah. Or it's like at the end of a school day and they're just like totally brain fried. But I find that humor is a good way to get them to buy in and focus. And I think too, when I first started, I probably almost put in like too much thought to like, like how do I need to act to make them like me? And then you kind of realize like the weirder you act, you're just that old guy. Yeah. So just try not to care.
That's true.
Yeah. Like they can like sniff it out when you're trying too hard, and they're just like, oh, okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So absolutely. I try to make them laugh by being a little bit cringy and using their slang. Yeah. Or just ask them about stuff in school, or especially with sports teams, like really take an interest in the sports team success and ask them stuff that involves multiple people in the group engaging in it so that they don't kind of talk in pairs and get distracted. Realizing people that chat too much in pairs and not letting them be in the same group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like a teacher.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, just making them feel comfortable and finding things that they enjoy in it so that it's not all like, if I was training a, 25-year-old athlete who's like, really invested in their sport, you really don't need any extra motivation. Like, they are dialed in.
Yeah.
Whereas teens, they're still teens, even if they are at a high level of sport. So you want to find ways to get them to buy into it and enjoy it and have fun. So like sometimes little games, like kind of that. We use the term like the 80-20 rule in fitness.
Yeah.
A lot of us do anyway, where it's like, 80% of the stuff like you need to do, and 20% can be creative and fun and enjoyable. That might not be exactly what you would do in a perfect world, but it keeps them doing it over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually starting to do sports psychology
Nice.
it just dawned on me that I love sports and I love psychology. Why not combine it?
Yeah.
So I have a young man, he's 14, competitive baseball, and he's in a program that like they recommend a therapist. They're preparing him for scouting and everything. Yeah. It's pretty intense.
Nice.
He's probably one of the most easygoing teens I've ever, and I've been doing this for like 31 years.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the most easygoing teens, but we're doing a lot of like visualization and relaxation, like all of the stuff. And I'm actually going to bring him over to your side. Actually, I see him on Monday to do, we've been doing some like concentration stuff, and then I bring out sounds, and at first he'd start giggling and now he's like visualizing, he's a pitcher, visualizing pitching, and I'm bringing all these sounds and he's not even flinching or anything. He's so focused. So now we're going to actually do the pitching with like a foam ball or something. My sister would have a heart attack if I brought anything else in. But I now have a sister who's also, she's a competitive rider. Okay. So mom's taking her on these, like they're traveling all over. Dad's taking him to the States and everything and all these. Yeah. Very busy family, but very level-headed. I want to incorporate and do it with teens. Yeah. And maybe do something combined at some point.
For sure.
But that's on my list. Lily knows that my brain goes all the time and I get all these ideas. And all the girls at the office, if I ever say to them, I've been thinking, they all go, oh no. Yeah. Or I have an idea. Oh crap. What are we doing now? Right. Yeah. So that is something, because I do, there's so much psychology to sport as well, especially like higher level sport. Yeah. You still, especially kids, teens, you want them to have fun, but there's also the other side of it, right? And I would get him to watch like Kevin Gosman and Chris Bassett and stuff. I'd get him to watch them in between innings, because the camera always goes. And I always say, what are they doing? Are they over chatting and everything, or what are they doing? They're visualizing, they're focusing and stuff. So there's so much psychology to it, but then there's the other aspect. And I know, when you say, they're talking and stuff, teens, their focus and everything right now, because they're on their phones all the time. Just to listen to somebody, even in session one-on-one, I'm like, I'm here, right? It's, it can be hard to maintain that.
I found that, just because I played sports growing up, like, hockey, but mostly I got really into ultimate frisbee, which it's one of those things, if you see it played at a recreational level, it looks really silly, because it's just a goofy sport. And like, people have a hard time throwing and catching, and there's weird rules, and it doesn't look like a regular sport. But if you see it played at a really elite level, it's quite intense, and it's, hard, like person-on-person defense, and you have to be really accurate with your throwing, and you have to switch from offense to defense really quickly. And I found that when I was younger, especially in teens and early 20s, I had this kind of like, to get fired up to make big plays in games, I had a very high like arousal level, I guess you'd call, right? And the more that I learned from different people and coaches about the sports psych side of things, and trying to find like, well, on defense versus offense, like, should you really be of the same arousal level?
Yeah.
And even in training the same way, like some things require more of a focus and some things require more intensity, and kind of got a little bit exposed to different meditative practices. And when I moved to Vancouver, I joined a different ultimate team that was kind of renowned for being super intense. Like they were, you know, very aggressive, and they would constantly form the majority of Team Canada, and Canada had a really bad reputation for being too aggressive on the world stage and making, you know, too aggressive plays. So I was thinking, I'm going to get there, everyone's going to be like aggro, shoving each other, getting pumped up. And the first thing we did was like a circle meditation before our game. I'm thinking like, this is something else. And just the way that, like, if I'll have a team of kids do that, yeah, they're kind of like, what the heck? And they're giggling a lot through it. But how impactful that was for me is like, I can't like overstate it or understate it. It's like being able to focus just on breathing and have that reset, and how it eliminates the external thoughts that might go into like, oh, am I going to have a drop? Am I going to make this throw? You know, all those things. And I've noticed it's a really useful tool for the sports teams with youth, because they really do need to just calm down for a sec.
Yeah, 100%.
And as much as we can be like, hey, focus, you stop talking, like if you get the whole room, even if they're giggling at first, to do these breathing techniques, it was hugely impactful for me.
Yeah, we did 3 full sessions on breathing and relaxation. I did that with the young gentleman, and a lot of like the psychology part of the game's over, let it go, or the play's over, let it go. And I'm talking baseball because this kid plays baseball, but I remember, you know, watching the Jays with my dad, and Bo Bichette, he fumbled the ball, and I could see it on his face. And I said to my dad, he's going to miss the next ball that comes to him. And my dad's like, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, he's going to miss it. I said, he's still thinking about that. You could see it in his face. The next ball that came, he put his glove down, but he was already thinking about throwing it. And he missed the ball again. Right. And I use that example and talk about breathing through it and how we get so, you know, like a lot of the players, the professional athletes, they're professional athletes. They're going to think about it. They're going to look, review it. They're going to do all of that. But I use the example too of watching, what was the movie? Fever Pitch with Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore, I think. And he was like so into the Boston Red Sox, and it ruined his relationships, and they lost the World Series. And he was like, he broke up with his girlfriend over it, and he was sitting at the bar, and he was just drowning in sorrows, and he heard laughter, and he looked up, and it was the Red Sox team laughing and joking and having dinner together. You know, and I use that example that they let it go. And so, you know, that's part of the sports, the psychology of it too. Yeah, you truly have to. And like everybody's so different. Like, but another funny example, right, is like you ever watch like the hockey players talk in their like their post game medias? And like they're, you know, the last thing they want is the press to like ask them these things right after they screw up or have a bad game. I noticed it with like our goalie in Ottawa, like Linus Ullmark, where like people get on him because he's so casual after games. He's like, he'll have, you know, a statistically terrible game, and they'll be like, oh, like, how you feeling? He's like, you know, it's bad, but tomorrow's another day. That's right. And people are like, how are you so casual? Like, I want you to be pissed. And it's like, this guy has to be so mentally sound. Like, he's doing exactly the right thing. Absolutely. And specifically the right thing for him and his personality, because he needs to be calm, and, you know, his reflexes need to be sharp. Absolutely. How is it going to help him to be pissed? And they always ask those stupid questions. Oh my God. You just lost the Olympic final. You must be feeling really down. Suck? No, it's great. It's great. Thanks. And like they must, when they get picked to go talk, they must just be like, oh my God. I would have a hard time being like,
There's
And
so
some
many
of
of
them
those
are.
reporters I want to like be able to fire.
Yeah.
I'm like, stop saying like the dumbest stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of them do.
Yeah.
Some of them, mostly coaches and stuff, will be like, stop asking those questions, or they'll
Oh,
say,
I love
what
Ottawa's
do you
coach for
think?
that. He gives like the one word. He's like,
Who
is
is
this
that?
is this one you'd want to flush away? And it's Travis Green. He just
Oh,
goes,
yeah.
yep.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's Torello. Yeah, he has.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we won't get
Poking the
into
bear.
that.
Yeah.
That'll be a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
This is about bridging the gap too between mental and physical, mind and body. So let's talk about that connection between mental health and physical health. And mental health, I always reiterate this, mental health is a state of mental well-being. Mental health issues and mental illness are where, obviously the mental health problems and stuff. But a lot of people will say, I have mental health. And so we all have mental health, right? So I always want to just clarify that. But the connection between them. So how do you see FST and personal training supporting mental health? We've talked a little bit, but supporting the mental well-being.
Well, in one sense, I think it's as simple as like how it, reduces cortisol and improves like it, endorphins and dopamine. Like it is as simple as that in one aspect of it, where anytime that you're, physically exerting yourself, that that chemical process just going to make you feel better straight up. Like it is like a medicine.
Yep.
And the other side of it, I would say that it is offering a way to seize control of things. And a lot of the time with the way that different, mental health issues manifest is through the anxiousness of not having control over things. And I think that it's not necessarily like this aha thing that people have where they can like verbalize it this way. But I think that when people realize that they have control over something that seemed like they couldn't, like their physical well-being, that carries over to everything. And that shifts their mindset completely into other realms of life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I talk to clients all the time about, not everyone likes to go to a gym, not everyone, but going to Dalgity Resilience or something, the 4 happy chemicals, the 4 mood moderating chemicals are released, especially in the classes, because dopamine's released when we achieve something.
Yeah.
Serotonin increases when we have a purpose and when we, achieve something, even going up in weights or going.
Yeah.
We'll do it. Endorphins with exercise produces energy. And when you do a class or even a personal trainer or something, oxytocin, which is that bonding chemical, that makes us feel like we have a place, that's released. So the 4 main ones, there's also norepinephrine and stuff, but the 4 main ones are released by going and doing a workout or going to do a class or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yes, the control and the anxiety. And one of the main things I talk about in sessions is what we can control versus what we can't control.
Yeah.
Because we're always trying to control what we can't. And, I always say, focus on what you can. What is one thing right now that you can control? And if that means going and, doing a workout or something, going for a walk even to start, right? Just moving.
Yep.
And what about the FST? How do you think that can improve mental well-being?
So I think it can definitely get people to like just take a second, and it is like a form of meditation on the mental side. I think like if we're just talking the physical side, it's like, we're trying to address a specific issue. And on the mental side, it can be just, a lot of different things. For some people, it can be almost just like having someone there as a kind of like, I won't say like a therapist or counselor, because sometimes it's not even stuff they're saying. It's just like, being vulnerable to be around someone and kind of like, just chill for a second. And that reset and having that resource can help with them. But I think it's being able to just shut the world off for a bit. Really. Yeah.
And then if it's the nervous system that it's adjusting to, that's
I think also in the gym side of the mental well-being part, it's feeling like you fitness is something you own, or that you can also have. Whereas if you walk into a gym and you've never really been a part of it, and you see, like people that look like they really own it, like it's their thing, you feel like it's not your thing.
That's
you
right.
see bodybuilders, you see like people that are dialed, they're there every day, they're confident, they're talking to other people, like they look like those are the people to you in that moment, that like that's their thing, and I'm like the imposter doing it. So when that switch flips for people, that's what I love to see, is somebody who it wasn't their thing, but now they're talking about is like, I got to get my workout.
Yes.
And like,
yes,
I got this number on my lift the other day, like they're owning it.
Yeah.
And it becomes something that they realize is also for them. I think that's a big mental shift.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dopamine would be flying.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's what, people think of addiction and stuff like that. Addiction is because of the dopamine,
Mhm.
but that if you can increase dopamine, you keep having these achievements, then that's going to motivate you to go to the gym more too, and that's going to motivate you to say my workouts and feel if you miss a workout.
Addicted to the gains.
You what? Sorry.
Addicted to the gains.
Yeah.
It's a medical term.
Oh
no, it's not.
I knew it wasn't. I'm like
gain addiction.
It's a
pump reliance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We have some listener questions.
Okay.
How often should I get FST sessions to see results?
So that's one that it'd be like the same if someone said like, how often should I get a massage? In a perfect world, if you're like, a ton of time and money, you could probably get a massage every day, and that would be the best. Like it'd be, great. Maybe a little bit overkill depending on like the type.
Yeah.
If it was FST specifically, because it can definitely, make your nervous system kind of in a kind of like a different state, where you might feel if you're an athlete, you're a bit slower for the first day or two after. So you probably want to spread it out at least a few days, but obviously like getting it multiple times a week just isn't feasible for most people's schedules. But I think that you can see significant improvement even in like a bi-weekly or every 3 or 4 weeks. Like you will still, it's really about what you're doing aside from it. Okay. Even if you had FST every like 2 or 3 days, that's a passive approach to correcting the body in some way. So if you're actually trying to address a joint dysfunction or, improve your ability to do something with a joint, there has to be an active component of you articulating your own range of motion. So exercise and specific exercise. It's kind of like, there's all different types of physios, but a physio might have you come in with a shoulder issue and do a little bit of work on it. Who knows, needle, shockwave, whatever their passive modality is. And then they'll give you a band and say, okay, do a bunch of these. Right. And the issue is a lot of the time you don't really get prescribed the technique, the volume, the intensity. So you kind of just wing it. And it's hard to really know if you're doing enough. So the big part is that it's the other like 23 hours in the day of like, are you doing specific exercises with this new range of motion that are going to help keep it that way? And if someone is really regimented on that, then they could get FST done like, as a tune-up once in a while, like even like once a month for a few months, and see how that goes. And then see if over the course of their active training, they've addressed that issue enough that it's no longer a problem.
Okay.
So it just depends. Some people, if it's like they, have a chronic joint problem, like, they've had, a knee injury or a hip replacement, and, like all these things that are not necessarily like quickly fixable or going to take a long time to heal, then having it as kind of like a regular tune-up as a part of a broader approach that includes something active, that's the way to go. I hope that kind of answers it. Yeah. It just depends on the issue.
Segue to the next question. When you're talking about hip replacement and stuff, the next question is FST safe if I have arthritis or a previous injury?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yep.
See,
well, when you say previous injury, actually, I'll add the, it depends. Like anything else. Like if someone is, just coming off an injury and they have not taken the time to get medical imaging or at the very least like a diagnosis, then in some senses we're kind of working blind. And as much as, I've seen enough to have my thoughts on what something may or may not be, without having the medical confirmation, we don't really know if something is going to work as planned for us. So with it injury, if you already know what it is, it's been something you've had for a while, it's pre-existing, and it's part of the treatment plan, then that's great. It's definitely, safe as long as, a doctor hasn't told you otherwise.
Yeah.
But if something you just got hurt, I would say that seeking immediately like an RMT, a chiro, or FST is probably not the order you should do it in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the last question is, can I combine FST with other therapies? So I assume massage and stuff like that.
So when I was in Vancouver, I kind of started a small clinic setting in the gym that I was renting space out of. And I would hire RMTs and kind of have them as subcontractors. And we would share the room. I'd do FST. And they would always give me the feedback that they found their clients were much better at receiving massage after they had had FST within like the few days beforehand. Just in terms of how accessible and manipulated the tissue will get. That's what I've heard. And I have heard a similar thing with chiro. But yeah, 100%. I definitely caution people that are trying to stack something all in the same day. Just because I think it gives almost like an inaccurate picture to the second of the two therapies, where someone who's assessing you coming in after you've had FST might say like, oh, wow, you're perfectly aligned.
Yeah.
No need to do this. And then you don't really get your money's worth.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do things on the same day, but in terms of having them all be a part of your practice, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we're going to start wrapping up. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and your expertise.
Thanks for having me.
Before we wrap up, though, is there one takeaway you want listeners to remember?
I'm trying to think about like PT, FST, or like
whatever,
fitness in general.
Whatever you think.
I think it's if you're someone who's listening with the intention of at some point getting started for the first time in something that improves your physical health, you don't necessarily need to start jumping in immediately to a workout regimen. Like you can chip away and build your way up there. And I would suggest that the first thing you do is just an assessment or talk to someone in the field, whether it's myself or Allison, someone that can do a physical assessment and maybe refine your goals with you. So at least you know what your next steps look like. I think that a lot of people don't know that that's actually the first bridge step towards, seeing what fitness regimen works for you. It's not like an all or nothing where you're going to walk in the gym the first day and the person's like, okay, let's go over the bench press.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be.
But it happens.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you're super right to feel that barrier of being vulnerable with somebody and wonder, what's this going to look like and going to happen. That's like super normal. But that just start with conversation, and whatever gym you walk into or place you go, like, you know what you're ready for, and just tell them that and go from there.
Yeah. Own it.
Yeah.
All right. So where can people find you if they want to book a session, personal training, or FST, or learn more?
So you could go to the Dalgity website, which
DalgityResilience.ca.
Yeah.
I think
so. Yeah.
Yep.
You could email me at goodkeyfitness@gmail.com or matt.dalgity@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt.dalgityresilience@gmail.com.
Good question.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I should know this.
Because Allison's is Allison.dalgityresilience, so at gmail.com. So yeah. All right.
The number right here.
Yeah.
You edit that
I was
in?
just going to say, Lily will put it all in here for us.
Yeah.
Check out dalgityresilience.ca and see what Dalgity Resilience has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, you want to just start out, classes, personal training, you can meet with them. And it's a really good, I pop over to talk to my sister sometimes, but I love watching, it's all age groups, all age groups.
Yep.
Just the camaraderie and just the it's just so easygoing, and it's
Mhm.
not, like you said, it's not people
Yeah.
walking in and other people are like lifting really heavy
Yeah.
and stuff, right?
It's the benefit of like that one-on-one studio space where you're
Yeah,
not going in where there's a bunch of members doing their own workouts. You're literally just there with at most like one other trainer and client who's probably in a similar boat to you.
yeah,
And it's, figuring out what mix of, 30-minute, 60-minute one-on-ones or pair training or classes. And there's different classes, like just seeing what kind of mix
yeah,
makes the most sense for you. Yeah.
absolutely. And then FST as well. And
Mhm.
yeah, all right. Thank you for listening. I hope that you learned a lot today, and thanks, Matt. That was awesome. I learned a lot today too. And I'm going to hit you up to do some sports psychology with me.
Perfect.
Another
Yeah.
idea going on.
Yeah.
Remember to share if you know anyone that's looking for any
Mhm.
of this. Subscribe, follow us on Spotify, and keep building your mental playbook. And until I see you again, take care of you.